artists, they're doing that because they have nothing else to do.
I hate it. It's not funny. It's not interesting to look at. Boring. Boring.
I love when they put commissions open. I love that so much. They're working for $45 a week. There's gonna be like 13,000 people who are like, oh, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then that's it. What do you think, it's all about money? You just trying to make $1?
It took me 10 years before I started making $1,000.
Man, animation is gonna be brutal, bro. It's the reason why everything sucks. The way that things get paid for is via advertising. They know deep down that their work is not monetizable.
The last few percent of what you have to do, it's like doing a whole nother 50%.
That's universally true.
Yeah.
3 weeks ago, 4 months ago, 11 months ago, yeah, man, you gotta like furiously up the rate at which you're making stuff.
Sam, I have a secondary income stream illustrating anime ladies, and it's built me a 1 Jay-Z Cressida and almost every gun I want. Why would I have to go?
That's fine. If you're making money, that's fine. I just don't want to hear from... I've heard this from people who do illustration. They're like, hey, should I keep doing it? I'm actually getting gigs. And the gig is like a once every 2 weeks, $25 commission.
Yeah.
So just, if you're actually making money, fine, but whatever. Hit up the 𝐂𝐿s guys.
You can make
They might need some art done.
You can make good money doing furry prolapse. You think a lot?
Furry prolapse. Move on to that.
Do people know what zines are? This was a huge thing in the 90s. Like people my generation were really into making zines, pathetic little publications, like super limited run publications. They would make an edition of 20 of these things. If you ever suggested to one of these people that they monetize their work somehow, they would get aggressively, what do you think, it's all about money? You just trying to make $1? And part of that is because they know deep down that their work, the thing that they spent all this time on, is not monetizable. It's not something that anybody not homeless or a fellow zine maker would be willing to spend $1.50 on. Like, it's just junk. Like, it's a lot of people in the arts make self-satisfying junk. And you're making something that only appeals to you. Like, you're the only, and you have to explain why it should have an appeal to somebody else.
Should I not pursue my dream of self-publishing my own comic/graphic novel?
You can do a graphic novel as long as there's something about what you're doing that has like an intellectual property, your personality, a certain swag that people can buy into. You can do that. If you're making stuff that's generic, or if you're making stuff that's cool in a non-special way, like it's slick, it's good, it's futuristic, it's got good coloring or whatever, or realistic lighting in some anime thing, but if it doesn't have something extremely characteristic, I wouldn't even go that far. That stuff's gonna fail too. You need to have something that has personality. But a graphic novel is, if you're good at it, you can do that. I don't think that stuff's gonna get replaced by AI. I'm sure there will be people that are trying to augment graphic novels with stuff from AI, but if there'll never be, I won't say never, but I don't think anytime soon there's going to be anything that replaces like Sin City. Like, if you make a special graphic novel, I think you're probably secure for medium term. Just because the stuff that I've seen AI makes sucks, and no matter how well it imitates some style of anime or looks photorealistic or looks like an Unreal or a Blender rendering or whatever, there's something about it that is, at its core, ass. So if you are making a cool graphic novel, I could see that being a thing that survives 10, 15 years from now. One of the reasons why our content is blacklisted, suppressed, deboosted, etc., is because we're not really advertiser friendly. The monetization model, it affects the end product so much. It's the reason why everything sucks, is because everything is the way that things get paid for is via advertising. Nobody really is buying tickets to go see movies anymore. Nobody's buying DVDs anymore, except for collectors. I'm sure there's one guy out there who just bought a new Tarantino DVD set and is going to say, I collect DVDs. Well, yeah, okay, we get it, but I'm talking about the rule, not the exception. Everything is funded with advertising, so everything has to appeal to advertisers. It has to be the kind of thing where you're not selling an $80 DVD to 1,000 people. You're selling an 8-cent ad impression that goes across 1 million people. So you have to appeal to a totally different demographic anyway. So there's even less ways for niche artists to make money. If you're in the past, you could have done I think Matt Damon talks about this. One of the what was his Good Will Hunting. So movies like Good Will Hunting, it used to be possible to fund a movie like Good Will Hunting because even if it had a lackluster theater debut, later on you would have people who are real movie fans, real movie buffs that collect DVDs. They would go buy the DVD. So you'd see a secondary, back end sale on that. Whereas nowadays people are only interested in what they can get for free on their phone. There's going to be like 13,000 people who are like, oh, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then that's it. They're just going to watch it for free. No one's going to pay you. No one's going to pay you to make a show. And I'm not saying this is 100% guaranteed going to happen, but that's the way it usually goes. Man, animation is going to be brutal, bro. For the amount of time that you're going to put into the animation, unless you have money to pay like a studio to do this for you, I think you're better off making graphic novels. Keep doing graphic novels because the animation it's going to take so much time.
This takes a lot of time. I can tell you spent a lot of time on this. You are doing what Gordon Ramsay calls being a busy idiot, which I am guilty of to an extreme degree. Thinking that taking this stuff into Photoshop and matting it out and making it transparent and making it animated is in any way interesting to your viewers. That this Hunter Biden is like on an iPad floating across the screen. This is a lot. You're putting in a lot of work. I wouldn't call this quality, though. I'd call it being a busy idiot. That sounds like an insult. It is. I hope that you stop doing it. But I'm guilty of this myself to a painful degree. Don't do this. Like it doesn't make it funny. It doesn't make it more interesting. You know what I mean? Like it's visually, this is kind of interesting. Like this is almost, if this were a little bit better, I might be like, oh, I could see someone making that a desktop wallpaper or something. One of the most painful things for me, it took me 10 years to realize that my teacher at RISD, sound teacher, he said that sound is 70% of the film. Sound is 70%, the visuals are 30%. For film, I don't even know. I don't know. I would have to take some time to think about it. But I think Ryder Ripps did a thing once where he put an iPhone video with a good lav mic and a cinema camera, like an Alexa or something, with a microphone. And the cinema camera, the $100,000 camera with the audio that's being captured by a cell phone is unwatchable. The cell phone camera with good audio is completely watchable.
It's like animation is like very high effort, low yield. Graphic novels is the way you get like a Hollywood film made. Like if you wanted to do, like just look at like Sin City, Frank Miller, the Watchmen stuff. Like these things start at the comic level because that's where you get all the good ideas in your head. That's where you get them down onto paper fastest. So in animation, if you spend 5 years of your life doing the most banging animation possible, you can get across like maybe 5 good ideas in your animation. If you spend 5 years hardcore going on graphic novel stuff, you can get down hundreds of good ideas and hopefully get the attention of somebody who has money that wants to back something like this or build up enough of a following that but this is you only have 600 followers right now. If you keep at this, you'll get a following. You'll be able to sell, like you'll be able to carve out a niche for yourself, whether or not you get any kind of mainstream success. This is good enough that a niche will be here if the writing's good. The art's good. I don't know if the writing's good. Make it even more organic, looking like it's done by hand. God forbid, maybe even do something by hand. Get yourself a drafting table. You're good at writing, do it yourself. There's writers out there. There's ways to find writers out there who are like good. Like what are writers doing? At the most making $40,000 a year with their Substack. Like that's the most the average writer has monetized their stuff. And there's people who are really good at writing. So find one of them, link up, and give them, just be like, listen, you write it, I'll give you 10% of what it makes, I'll handle everything else. But this is good. Keep at it. Just work harder. Keep making more.
Yeah, man. You got to like furiously up the rate at which you're making stuff because you did one 3 weeks ago, 4 months ago, 11 months ago.
Year ago.
Unacceptable. But I think I don't think it's a waste to keep pushing. I think you should keep doing it.
I don't know if anybody in chat can relate, but no matter what size the project is, it could be you're doing an EP, you could be making music, you could be doing a show. You have like a progress bar of what you're working on, right?
Yeah.
When it gets to 95, the last few percent of what you have to do is it's like doing a whole nother 50%.
That's universally true
Yeah.
about many things.
because I'm just like recalling what are my blind spots, what did I forget? I'm sure, you know, no matter what you're doing, you forget something, but it always works out.
I'm telling you, as a precautionary tale, it took me 10 years of working my ass off and being ridiculed and having my family and friends look at me like an asshole before I started making $1,000. Just so you know. That's the entry point there, okay? What's interesting here is your voice, your personality.
Strap on a last-minute costume.
I don't give a f you did this in Photoshop. Actually, I hate it. I hate it. It's not funny. It's not interesting to look at. Boring. Boring.
Just to go sit in the dark for the 5-hour double feature.
The audio's good. Your takes, people would listen to these takes, I think. I don't think that your takes are like, I don't think there's anything wrong with what you're saying. You're saying it kind of fast, but maybe saying it fast is good. I would practice with your voice. I would get a microphone. I would get the Glenn Beck microphone or the Shure SM7B, but this Lewitt LCT 240 Pro, I'd get a microphone like that. I would take some voice practice.
Even more.
I would try to make your voice a little deeper, a little more melodic, and I would practice reading stuff at different paces. I would never, this Envato video clips and animation stuff, I think you should never do that again. I think that's a total dead end. I think that animating anything is a huge waste of time. You should never, ever do this again. Just put up an image if you got to put something up. Put your face up. Even if you're ugly, I would enjoy calling you ugly.
It's good for engagement.
It's good for engagement. Maybe, lose some weight so you're not totally deplorable or whatever.
Yeah, you got to get in peak physical fitness like this.
The animation's boring, and then practice reading in varying paces. So fast, slow when it's time to make the point. You know what I mean? Yeah, this is pretty cool, man. I think the thing I like about it is that there's the texture going on. It almost looks hand-drawn. I would look for the parts that are clearly digital, like this fence in the background, this edge right here. I would look for stuff that's like giveaways that it's digital and try to find a way to make it even more not digital. Putting film grain on it, that might be isolating the line work and doing a rough and edges style effect. I would do something here to make this less apparently a photograph. I mean, composition, everything, it's good. It's good artistically.